Here you go, Marvel Legends Steve Rogers. This was the most anticipated figure for me in this wave. This was supposed to be the #1 figure for me. It comes with the photon shield, and it comes with the lower torso to build the figure Terrax. Terrax! Now, the other difference in this figure is the fact that it also comes with a black paint scheme versus the navy blue. Here's the artwork from Ed McGuinness. Take a look at the package one more time before we get this sucker ripped open. Let's look at the back. The back here, once again, artwork by Ed McGuinness. Includes Tales of Terrax, part 1 of 6. Right, we talked about the little paper that comes inside that kind of gives you pieces and bits of stories of Terrax, kind of educate you a little bit on the character Terrax. And you collect the 6 figures to build Terrax, and here is Ed McGuinness artwork in the back. Now, let's get this sucker open and discuss what little issues I have here with this figure and why he ended up being not the top figure that I anticipated and was waiting for in this wave. Let's check it out. Oh yes, before we get into the figure, let's take a look at the Tales of Terrax 1 of 6. And here it features the Fantastic Four, pretty cool, and a little tidbit once again on Terrax and their encounter with the Fantastic Four. And in the back, of course, directions to build a figure. Pretty cool, huh? Make sure you check these out once again, 1 through 6, and make sure you look at them in order. Now let's go to the build a figure piece. He comes with the lower torso to Terrax. No, I can't wait to build this guy. I've been going piece by piece, but all these pieces are just sitting on the side right now. And we got the ball joints, T-joint also on the hip. But anyways, I've been putting these pieces aside. I can't wait to put them together. We'll wait for that video, huh? And now, finally, Steve Rogers. All right, you can see the uniform is black versus the navy blue. This is the variant. And in the regular version, he's actually blue and comes with a regular shield. Let's take a look at him on a side profile. Now there's some complaints about the head being big and just a little too aged for Steve Rogers. The reason why it looks like that is the grooves in the face when they were sculpted. Looks like these lines were hit a little too hard. So he's kind of got the crimson chin, and just a little. His lines are a little too defining. Those lines look like they needed to be brushed out a little bit better and smooth with the figure. Sometimes too much detail cannot help a figure. It'll add age to the figure opposed to character. So it's a fine line you got to be careful with sometimes. And it looks like here they were trying to give the figure a little too much detail, and it didn't quite come out right. But overall, from afar, it looks good. Good from far, far from good. No, that's fucked up. I shouldn't say that. But no, it does look good. It actually does look good from far. It's just when you get in real close that the details start to pop and things look different. Now, let's take a look at a few things here that was really upsetting to me. The star on the shoulder, and there's a line going from the bicep down the forearm. You see that line? That line was actually drawn, that actually was painted on the Comic-Con prototype. And we look here, and we're completely missing both the star and the line that's supposed to run down his forearm. Now, it's not going to bother some people, but you know what? Guys, you guys watch reviews from everybody, and I got to stay true to myself. This was supposed to be my favorite character. And I'm really upset, just really, really upset that they didn't go the extra mile to get this detail right on the character. Because he is so patriotic. Those stars not only define his uniform, but define his character. And for me, Steve Rogers, just in case you didn't know, this happens to be Solid Snake's favorite character in the Marvel Universe. So they said they didn't put it there because of the paint chipping, right? Okay, well, that was a bad executive decision because I would have rather had paint chipping than for it to look like a knockoff. Now here's the other thing. You got to spin the shoulders around, all the way around. In package, it actually comes wrong. you need to spin these shoulders around because it looks a little too empty. So you want the lines covering as much as they can. So make sure when you pull it out of the package, you rotate the bicep and flip it down. And this is the correct way. The figure is supposed to be shown. It must have changed, I guess, when they were packaging the figure. They accidentally rotated those out wrong. But anyways, yeah, I know it's just a little bit of paint defect, but to me, it's a big deal. Let's look at the forearm. The forearm swivels. He's got the gun grip. You know, that's another thing people were complaining about, was not giving some articulation to the fingers, kind of like the shield agent, so that he can close his fist for battle, because he's more of a hand-to-hand combat. The black, you can see the black paint. It's not blue, although it might look blue in the light a little bit. This is completely black, and this is a variant. Now, overall, the figure was done good, and all the straps and harnesses are removable. And this is probably why they kind of screwed up on the size of the head. Sculpting the head a little too big was because of the bulkiness of the character. I mean, the bulkiness of the outfit. And you can see here the boots were glued on, and they were done well. I mean, if this figure is actually really, really nice. It's really nice. They just forgot some few details, but those details for me just really make the character what it is, and even if some of you guys saying, well, I could paint the circle and the star and I could paint the line, let me tell you, as a professional customizer, it is a bitch to paint a circle and nonetheless to paint a star inside the circle. Real pain in the ass. Anyways, look at the figure from bottom to top. It's a great looking figure, and I mean, the details on the figure and the removable harnesses, I have no problem with that. Everything looks great. The figure is well put together. And like I said, it's just the little details that were left out that makes me feel like it's just not 100% Steve Rogers. You know, whatever the excuse may be that they didn't do that. I mean, I'm sorry that I keep ranting about it, but it's just like, this is the return of Marvel Legends, and I feel Marvel Legends should be perfect in every way. Articulation's there, sculpt is there, paint, which is the only thing that Hasbro a lot of times gets right, they got it wrong. So I don't know. Let's move on here. Now let's do some articulation. Head rotates down, which is great. Can rotate all the way up. So they've been getting it right on the rotation of the neck and the joint. Awesome job there. We got the waist swivel, torso flex, right? We got the shoulder ball joints, bicep swivel, right? We've got the double jointed elbows, forearm swivel, no articulation in the hands. So we will be rocking the pistol grip hands all day long. No fist for Mr. Rogers. And he's a hand-to-hand combat, so I wish they would have maybe add a hinge there just to close the hand up. Good detail on the figure. Now this waist harness, you can move that up. See that there's a ball joint there. It's not a T joint, it's still the Y joint, but it works. You just got to move it around. We got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, okay, and at the foot can actually point all the way down, so that's pretty impressive. I thought that the boot would actually get in the way. But no, it points all the way down. Now there is no pivot, and I believe that's coming in wave 2. So there you go. That's Shield Agent body. Now here's the Photon Shield. Photon Shield is my favorite. See that star? That's a sharp star, isn't it? Very, very sharp. We'll get into that in a minute, why I'm emphasizing on that. That goes in the peg hole on the back of his back, and that clips onto his hand. Now, the Photon Shield should be coming out of his wrist, so I wouldn't clip this onto his back. It just doesn't make sense. He doesn't walk around with a Photon Shield clipped to his back. So, I don't know, keep that aside, I guess, bust it out when you need it. And okay, the reason why I talked about the star, that crispy star, is I want to make a point here with that. That star is nice. Look at the star they painted on Steve Rogers' chest. They gave him the old wonky star. That is so wonky, man. So wonky. So I'm gonna do something. That's right. I'm pulling out the universe figure. Now, let me move this to the side. Okay. Now, see that? Look at that star. That's a crispy star, isn't it? And they gave us a, I don't know, third grade sticker star for the Marvel Legends. I'm not feeling that star, man. Why aren't we getting the same treatment as Marvel Universe? We're Marvel Legends, aren't we? We're basically the fruit of Marvel Universe. Shouldn't we look, if not better than Marvel Universe? I mean, look at them. They got the star on the shoulder. We didn't get shit. Not fucking cool. That is just so not cool, man. I mean, you're gonna. What was Dwight saying? You're gonna come hard or go home. You stayed home on this figure, bro. Look at that. The metal details on the straps. We didn't get them painted on. Marvel Universe. Marvel Universe hasn't painted. The little details on a 3 3/4 inch figure, and you couldn't meet up with it. You couldn't give us the same treatment. What's the deal with that? Even on the wrist, I mean, they painted that. Look at ours, brown. You gotta be fucking kidding me, right? Fucking kidding me. Well, look at there. At least we got the boots right, huh? Didn't forget the boots, which you might as well forget them. I mean, if you're gonna forget everything else on this figure, doesn't fucking make sense. Of course, the harness on the Marvel Legends is accurate. It's a lot better than the Marvel Universe one, And oh, look, we actually did get the strap painted, just like the Marvel Universe figure. Yay! Yay! Awesome. I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and talk a bunch of smack because I'm pissed. Even though I feel like saying a few things about, these minor details that were left out, I'm just gonna hold my tongue and I don't know, man. Maybe when I get to Comic-Con, I'll ask them, don't be doing shit like this. The reason why it matters to me is because if they're gonna do it to Steve Rogers, what's not to say they're not gonna do it to Phantom X? What if they forget some of his black lines on his costume? Or, or even Archangel, what if they forget some of the silver lines on Archangel? Here's the size of the head. Both of these bodies are the same exact body, Shield Agent body and Steve Rogers. The size of Steve Rogers' head is almost twice the size of the Shield Agent body. Now, I think Hasbro needs to understand something. When you go small, it's okay. It just makes the body look muscular. But when you go big on the fucking head, it makes the body look disproportionate. You can't go big. You can go small, but you can't go big. So you can see the head still looks big on this one, right? Just looks wonky. Just doesn't look right. But here's why I think Hasbro could nail it. And yeah, I guess it's a valid excuse. I don't know. The Shield Agent body, the Shield Agent head on the body looks just a tad small. So they just needed to sculpt that head just a tad bit bigger than the Shield Agent head, and they would have nailed it. And it's because of the bulkiness of the accessories that come on Steve Rogers that makes it look like the head needs to be a little bit bigger. But, with that being said, the head is still a little too big, in my opinion. Although it does, like I said, it's almost like you can't really tell and you can't really see it. All these accessories, the boots, the thickness of the boots and everything kind of balances out the figure. And that's really the only reason I could think of why the head was kind of sculpted a little big. The guy was trying to compensate for the bulkiness and he didn't want to make the head too small, but instead accidentally made it too big. I don't know. I don't know what their excuse is. I don't know what happened there or what. But bottom line is, if something doesn't come out right, you shouldn't be fucking scared to go back and say, hey, check this out, bud. Hey, the head sculpt here, it's a little too big. Can you replicate the head sculpt and make it a little smaller? I mean, really. Anyways, let's move to the gun. The gun here, this is nice, nice pistol. Nice pistol. They gave us 2 pistols. The detail on the gun's pretty good. Now, I personally won't be using the gun a whole lot. I mean, Steve Rogers uses guns when it's an imminent threat, but most of the time, Steve Rogers combats with his hands. He kicks ass. He's hand to hand. He wants to put you in a chokehold and knock you out. They fit perfectly in the gun grip hands. That's one thing that I can't fault. Although we didn't get articulated hands, they hold the guns damn good. So they made sure that these hands were gonna hold the guns correctly. So I mean, it's like you get good things going with the figure, and then a few flaws there and whatnot. Like I said, a lot of you guys are looking forward to this figure. Don't let me ruin it just because Captain America is my favorite character and I expect him to be perfect. Oh, Dwight Stahl did mention that they're going to do an All-Stars wave, which means like later on down the waves, wave 2, 3, and 4, they're going to re-release A-list characters. For example, this Steve Rogers might come out again later in the future without the bath piece. And if it does, fuck man, get it right the second time. The third time actually with the relaunch of Marvel. Get it right. If you release this character again in the All-Stars, just paint him correctly, man. Let us deal with the chipping. Anyways, thanks for watching and take care.